Today on Ask the Oracle, Manifest Like You Mean It, Conscious Creation with Anna Kay. Hey, light hearts, and welcome to Ask the Oracle. I'm Suzy Cherub, spiritual medium, soul mentor, and sacred space holder. And this is the space where we drop deeply and speak from the heart. Today's episode is a big, energetic yes. We're talking all things manifestation, conscious creation, and plugging back into your power. I'm joined by the gorgeous Anna Kay, a soul-led coach and speaker whose work lights up women across the globe. Together, we're cracking open the magic of the law of attraction and anchoring it in something real and grounded. So whether you're walking the dog, sipping your morning brew, or simply needing a little universal nudge, you're in the right place. Hi, Anna. How are you, my love?
Hi, gorgeous. I'm wonderful. It's so good to be with you today.
I'm so excited to talk to you, all things manifestation, because you really are the manifestation queen. So super excited for this. Okay, let's dive deep into these questions. So, Anna, the word manifestation gets thrown around a lot these days. But when did it truly land for you as a way of life, not just a buzzword?
Wow. Well, it's been many decades since I've grown into this new awareness, and it truly started for me in the 90s. I used to be a stay-at-home mum, and I used to watch Oprah. She would show up on like 1 o'clock every day, and I was really excited to see who was going to be on because of what I was learning. She had incredible people like Louise Hay, Eckhart Tolle, Gary Zukov, people like that helped me shift my awareness because I started to listen to things and I was going, what? Am I truly in charge of my life, or do my thoughts really create things? And I had no idea that any of this existed. And I had really low self-esteem growing up. I had no confidence, and I really believed that the world was happening to me. I had no idea that I was actually happening to the world. I had no idea that I was actually creating my experience of life. I was so caught up in my own pain. And so when I started to listen to this, I started to kind of go, wow, am I really creating my life? Is it really this way? And it was such a huge awakening, and that led me to a whole pile of other things, of course, along the journey. And that was my initiation to this information, to my personal empowerment, basically.
I think once you have that realization that you're the conscious creator of your own life, it's a really powerful epiphany to have. And I remember having that same realization as a child as well. It's like, oh, wow, you get to decide, you get to, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, because
So,
I used to
yeah.
live in, I used to kind of live in like I heard this guru say this once, this Indian guru. He says, you either live in your wounds or you live in your wisdom. And it wasn't until I found or heard about this information, I moved from living in my wounds to living in my wisdom. And it was a massive point of transformation. I viewed life differently, and I started to then become empowered, and I started to then want to know more. Okay, well, then how do I create my reality? How do I step into this personal empowerment? It was massive, it was huge.
So massive, living from your wounds or living from your wisdom.
Isn't that
So
beautiful?
empowering. Yeah, wow, that's profound.
Mm.
Love it.
So I think
From
about
your
that.
ex Yeah, yeah. From your experience coaching women, what are the most common beliefs or energetic patterns that block their manifestations?
Not worthy.
Yes.
We grow up, we truly do grow up. Most of us, if not all of us, will have an unworthiness set point. We'll have an unworthiness set point, and then we move forward in our lives from this place of unworthiness. And when you live in life from this place of unworthiness, you're going to stop beautiful things showing up in your life because your unworthiness set point is your creative point. It's your creative set point, and this is the biggest block. And when you start to share with people who they truly are, how they fit in the world, and how they can shift their perspective, all of a sudden doors start to open, like Joseph Campbell says, doors open where there were only walls. So it's that. It's really, it all comes down to really self-worth, self-worth.
Self-worth is huge.
And then, yes,
Exactly.
self-worth. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a client journey that still gives you goosebumps? One of those, this is why I do this work type moment?
Yes, I was invited to be a keynote speaker at an event. And then this lady, and then a few weeks after that, the creator, or the creator of the event, she contacted me. She goes, "You need to hear this." And I went, "Oh, what happened?" So she put us in a three-way conversation with this beautiful woman. She had escaped domestic violence, and she had rummaged in her car to find $4.80. That's all she had to get to the event. So she put $4.80 worth of petrol in her car, got to the event, listened to my talk about consciousness and listened to my talk about self-awareness. And I gave all the people in the room a visualization process. And then a few weeks later, she goes, I can't believe this has happened. She goes, I am now living in the exact place that I had visualized that day for me and my babies. She said it had bricks and it had wood and it had palm trees. She goes, I can't even fathom. She goes, just a few weeks ago, I couldn't even put petrol in my car. And now I'm living in this home. She goes, this is unbelievable. And and I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. And I actually have a written testimonial from her. And I think, had she not attended that event, where would she be?
Exactly.
And it was just
Yeah.
a process of self-awareness. This is what I teach people. I teach people self-awareness.
Yes.
Self-awareness, when you know who you truly are, when you know what's possible, when you know what's capable, life shifts. It cannot not shift. You cannot unsee or undo self-awareness. It's like a stepping
Exactly.
stone to becoming, a stepping stone to creating, to becoming, or to being who you want to be the best version of yourself. That's our whole purpose here.
Oh,
Self-awareness.
exactly. Self-awareness is so important. Like, I really love the Oracle of Delphi, and at that beautiful ancient site, on the gates of Delphi, there's know thyself. The best relationship you will ever have is the relationship you have with self, and to
Absolutely.
have that deeper knowing that you
Oh,
can actually consciously create
that was it.
is powerful stuff, right?
Know thyself, Socrates. I always say that to myself. Know
Yes,
thyself. That's kind of like a pivotal. That's the lighthouse on for me. Know thyself, because if when I know thyself, or when I know myself, I'm self-aware. When I'm self-aware, I'm then the creator of my experience. It cannot not be any other way. So I love that, know thyself, and that's what I teach my clients as well, to know themselves through
yes,
self-awareness, through knowing what's holding them back, through knowing how they that the blocks, the doubts, the fears. We go through life carrying the past on our back. It's like a sack of bricks on our back. And through the self-awareness and through the knowing thyself, it's a release of that baggage. It's a release of that weight on our backs. And all of a sudden, you now open up. It's like opening up a portal. It's opening up a portal to creating, opening up a portal to your best self, opening up a portal to being.
that's so amazing.
I love that.
Know what's holding you back. What do you have to reframe? Knowing what you truly want, having
Yeah.
the self-worth to know you deserve it. Um, that deep inner knowing that you can, you know, that story you told about that beautiful woman that escaped domestic violence, and now she's living in a home with her children, and it's a home that she actually visualized and basically made happen through a really tough period is incredibly inspiring. Such a great story. Yeah.
That's the power of self-perception.
Yes.
Self-perception. It's like, and Tony Robbins says this as well. He says if you hit a golf ball, so if you hit a golf ball 1 degree to the left or 1 degree to the right, the trajectory it lands in a completely different space. So you only need 1 degree of self-awareness. 1 degree of self-awareness, 1 degree of changing your perception to put you on a whole new trajectory of life. And that's what I love, teaching people. I love showing people how to do that 1%.
To
Just
shift that
simple 1%.
perception.
Yes,
Yes. Love that.
that perception. because
So
then it,
you've mentioned unplugging from the matrix. What does that look like in everyday terms? And why is it so important in the actual manifestation process, Anna?
well, unplugging from the matrix is unplugging from a 3D reality. We
Yes.
believe that we are living in this, we are, I mean, we're human, spiritual beings having a human experience. And yes, we're living in a 3D reality. But the matrix is the belief or it's the illusion that it's the only reality. So when we live in the matrix or when we're plugged into the matrix, we think we have to work hard, we have to think we have to strive, we think we have to just push. It's kind of like living in the masculine. Neville Goddard calls it the living in the world of Caesar, which is the world of push and pull. And the
Yes.
matrix is the illusion. You know, um, what's his name? I've lost his um, Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein
Yes.
says that
Yeah.
the world is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. And so
Yes.
when we tap into this the persistency of the world of illusion, we're trapped in that world of illusion. We're trapped in the matrix. And the matrix is what keeps us from our dreams. It's what keeps us from knowing ourselves. Because when we get anchored in the matrix, it's a struggle. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
we this is where we don't feel good enough. This is where when we don't feel worthy. This is where we feel like we can't get what we want because we're trapped in the belief that the matrix is all there is. But escaping the matrix is then stepping into possibility. It's stepping into something greater. It's stepping into energy. It's stepping into a different knowing from self-awareness, because
Yes.
self-awareness is everything. When you
Yes.
believe or when you know who you truly are, when you know that you're a spiritual being having a human experience, and the matrix is actually the mirror, then this is where you go, oh wow, what's showing up for me is really just the mirror of my
Yeah.
consciousness, the mirror of my own beliefs, the mirror of my own inner dialogue, the mirror of my own beliefs. So that's the matrix. The matrix is the mirror. And
Yes. That kind of real, uh, the matrix is a space of, um, you know, lack. It's a space of, you have to work hard to make things happen, that there's possibly not enough for all of us, that
yes,
kind of real, yeah, whatever it might be, that collective autopilot zombie living, I think when you come out of that and realize that you can consciously create your own life, it's super powerful. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. That is the key. It's really the key, the missing ingredient for creating or stepping into the creative aspect of yourself is knowing that the world is just the 3D reality is the reflection. It's the matrix. And we come into the matrix to feel and to know the 3D reality. We come into the matrix to experience it.
Yes.
But when you're experiencing it from a wounds place,
Yes. Not a
it,
wisdom.
it's the pain. We're
It's a pain. Yeah.
trapped in the pain. We're trapped in the illusion. We're trapped in the struggle. Whereas when we live from our wisdom, which is our self-awareness, so when you step into your wisdom, you go,
Oh, wow.
dissolve the wounding because the wounding is no longer relevant. The wounding is the past. The wounding is the past thoughts and the past feelings about everything that's happened before. But living in your wisdom is the creative self. And that's how we get out of the matrix, by understanding who you truly are, by
Beautiful.
tapping into self-awareness and
Love
learning.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. So wise. So for the woman who's been doing the vision boards, saying the affirmations, and still feels stuck, what's often missing from her manifestation process, do you think?
The knowing. The knowing. When we look at, I mean, the vision boards are fantastic. I even have one, and
Yes.
I love it because it anchors for me what I desire. It anchors for me what I want to experience. And every time I look at mine, I go, that's right. That's what I want. That's what I want to experience. So when you view though, if you leave your vision board from an external perspective, then it stays an external experience. It doesn't sink into your cells. I always say when it tingles in your cells, it manifests. So we've got to move from a place of it's out there, it's something I want, to a place of it's already here. It's
Yes.
a knowing, it's already within me. It's a knowing. You anchor it in a knowing. When it tingles in your cells, it's almost as though you're remembering the experience of that. So
Yes.
the vision board is the reminder. Like we all have little alarms on our phone, or if you know, we have, like for me, for example, I've on my screensaver, I have a little quote, have a little comment, show universe, show me how good it can get. And they're the anchor points. So that our vision board is the anchor point, but it's moving from that external 3D experience and to sinking it into your cells as a knowing. You
Beautiful.
embody it as a knowing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's then how then it starts to show up in your life.
Like a knowing that it's already here, a
Yes.
knowing of what you truly want, a knowing of you deserve it, that you're worthy of it.
Yeah.
Um, that beautiful remembering, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm with you. I love vision boards. I'm living in a house at the moment that I visualized in Bali, 10 years ago. And here I am sitting in it.
Wow.
So I truly believe in vision boards.
Yes.
And, reframing with positive affirmations and mantras and rewiring the brain and all of that.
Yes.
Um, but the knowing
The
is
knowing.
the missing part
Yes.
for the manifestation process to actually
Yes.
come together. Yeah.
I've always wanted to have my dream was always to have a home with a pool. I remember growing up and the neighbors' kids would have a pool, and I remember going to
Yes.
their pool and they're going to their pool going, oh, that's what I really want a pool. I really want a pool. So I've always wanted a pool. And I had that on my vision board. I had a pool on my vision board. And now I live in that dream house with a pool. I live in a home that I feel like I'm in a hotel. I've got this beautiful
Yes.
cabana, which was inspired by the Sheraton in Hawaii. And I'm living every day the living embodiment, basically, because I felt it in my cells. I saw the pool on the vision board, and then I embodied it into my cells as a knowing that I'm going to experience that, not as a desire, but as a knowing. And now, I wake up every single day in my home and I just go, how did I get here? How did I get here? And I live in every single day in such deep gratitude and such deep fulfillment, because I created that, I manifested that, and I don't even know how we did it, but it's a process. But it's
Yeah.
moving it from the vision board to a knowing, and then you follow that knowing, because the
Yes.
steps then will emerge from that knowing.
Well, speaking of steps, my love, what's your personal manifestation process? Can you explain that?
My personal manifestation process is that, well, first, as I was saying, first you've got to know. You've got to know
Yes.
what it is that you really want. And then that knowing is innate. It's not as it's something that it's almost like you've grown up with that knowing of the things that you truly desire. So it's the knowing. And then from the knowing, you need to have the seeing. Okay, so
Yes.
what does it look like? If I want, the universe will give you what you seek. But if you're not seeing it properly, it's kind of like going to a restaurant and saying, well, the waiter comes and says, okay, what would you like? And you go, oh, I don't know. I want some good food. Bring me something. And then they bring you something out. Oh, I don't eat that.
I don't eat
But you
that.
didn't
Yeah.
ask. You didn't ask. You didn't see what you want. So that's what,
Yes.
when we look at a menu, the universe has a menu, the universal menu. Well, when we look at our menu, we will look at food, and then we'll pick something in there, but we will see it. We'll visualize it. We look at the ingredients, and then we have a vision for it. So we see it, and then we go, yep, that's what I want. For example, if you want lasagna or whatever, you can see it when you order it. And it's exactly the same as this seeing. So it goes then from the knowing to the seeing, and then the feeling.
The feeling's so important too. Yeah.
Feeling. But it's not a feeling as though, oh, this is how I'm going to feel when I get it. No, it's got to be
No.
how I feel now, because I already have it. I have it in my energy field. I have it in my awareness. I have it in my field of possibility. So then the feeling, I always say to my clients, I said, it's got a tingle in your cells. A tingle in your cells. So the knowing, the seeing, the feeling, and it tingles in your cells as though it's already there. It's a remembering. I really believe that it's almost, I feel like we already know what we want when we come here. We know what
Yes.
we want when we come here. And then when we see something, it kind of triggers that knowing. It triggers that knowing that, that's right. I love that. I want that. I want to experience that because you've come from a place of knowing that you really want to experience that in your life already. So the feeling, then from the feeling comes the following.
Yes.
And I'll share with you what happened to me in the 90s. I remember thinking or knowing that I used to admire all those people that would walk the red carpet at the Oscars. And I used to just love that. And I had this knowing that I wanted to do acting. I wanted to do acting. So that's my knowing. So I just felt that knowing. I just had this knowing that I would want to do something like that. It was kind of innate within me. And then one day I picked up this newspaper and I never picked up the newspaper. And then so this is then part of the following. So I just opened the newspaper, I was flicking through the newspaper, and then all of a sudden I see this tiny little box highlighted, said actors wanted. And I went, oh, and I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. This this knowing within me made me pick up the phone and call this person, and then I got an audition, and I went, oh, and I was just thinking, oh my God, I'm not qualified. I'm not an actress or anything like that. But I followed. So that's
Yes.
after the feeling is the following. So I followed
The
them.
following.
I followed this trail. Followed this trail of this knowing because I was knowing, seeing, feeling, and then I got the part and I couldn't believe it. Here's the thing. This is everything happens for a reason. And then so the play that we were doing was about quantum physics
Wow.
and that nothing is coincidence. And
Wow.
then this led me to then, because I didn't understand quantum physics or any of that stuff back then, I developed an awareness for, I'm creating my reality. And then the guy that was playing my husband in the play, he was always reading this book between scenes. And I asked him, "What are you reading?" And he said to me, because I was curious, because he was always in this book. And he said, "Is when it's your time, it'll cross your path." And I remember thinking, what a weirdo, because I wasn't into that kind of information back then.
Yeah.
And he told me the name of the book. It was Celestine's Prophecy.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks
I
later,
loved that book.
it changed my life. It was the first book that I ever read after high school because I refused to read after high school. I got bruised by high school. And then 2 weeks later, I remember talking to this one of my son's school friends' mums, and I mentioned the book Celestine's Prophecy. She goes, "Oh, I have it. Would you like to borrow it?" And I went, "Oh my God!" I got goosebumps just thinking about that. This is the trail when you
The
follow.
trail. The following.
Trail is a following. The knowing, seeing, feeling, following, and then it's the allowing.
Yes. The allowing is huge.
So I
Yeah.
followed, and then followed, the trail to the audition, and then I got the part, and then the play was about quantum physics. You can't script that. Quantum physics, and
You
then
can't make it up, right?
you can't make it up. You can't make it up. That's the following, and then it's the allowing, and then it's the trusting.
Yes.
Trusting.
Yeah.
I trusted my inner guidance. I trusted my inner guidance. And that book really did shift my life. It shifted my life because it opened me up to other things, that nothing was
Yes.
a coincidence.
Exactly. I think the allowing, prevents us from getting in our own way. Often we
Yes.
talk ourselves out of the good stuff,
Yes,
what
absolutely.
through, fearful thought, or I'm not experienced, I'm not an experienced actress, or, who
Yes,
knows,
yes,
right?
yes,
The allowing and then the trusting.
yes.
Absolutely.
And
I love the way you explained that. That's really interesting. Yeah.
it's the fears and the doubts, which is then the anchor to the matrix that stop us then from following that niggle. We all have that niggle. Everybody has that inner niggle. If you're feeling dissatisfied in life, if there's a longing, that's the niggle. We follow the niggle. Okay, well, how do I resolve that longing? What do I really want? What is calling me? What is inspiring me? What is pulling at my heart? And then you allow and you open yourself up to that information, and you follow. You take the steps, and then each step that you take opens up another portal, sort of, the Joseph Campbell says, "Follow your bliss," and he also, well, I think it was Joseph Campbell that says, "Doors," or was it Ralph Waldo Emerson that said, "Doors open where there were only walls." Doors open where there were only walls, because I followed the trail. I followed the path.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. So, like, I think you've explained it, but what role does embodiment play in manifestation? Like, is it enough to think it, or do you really need to kind of like um become it? You know what I mean? Like embody it.
It's got to be, like I was saying, it's got to be the knowing, and the embodiment is the knowing. And
It
I'll
is
share
the
this
knowing.
other
Yeah.
story. I'll share this other story as well. This is the embodiment process. I really wanted to take my daughter to the Maldives, and I for a mother-daughter trip before she got married. And I've always loved the Maldives. I love, that those Maldives to me is like
The
heaven on.
pristine
Oh,
waters and the white sands and
yeah.
yeah,
So I had the knowing that I wanted to do. And the seeing, okay, I visualized what I wanted. I visualized the overwater bungalows with the pool and that those pristine, beautiful, pristine blue waters, the white sand, etc. And so then I stepped into it. So I was seeing it and then I was feeling it. But this is what I was doing. I would then have I would, for example, I'd go to sleep because, okay, if I wanted to embody that, what would it look like? So if I was sleeping in the overwater bungalow, what sounds would I be hearing? So I would put on audio, or like even just YouTube audio, and listen to the water lapping against the beach, for example, which was then I simulated that in my consciousness, in my mind, as water lapping against the pylons in the water underneath the overwater bungalow. So I would go to sleep lying there, seeing myself as though I'm already there, feeling it tingling in my cells as though it's a reality. I had the Maldives playing on my TV in the background, just the scenes, and I would pretend that that is a window that I'm looking out of. I'm seeing that as a reality. And then within a few months after that, I booked the tickets, and when I took my daughter to the Maldives, it was the most incredible experience ever. So you've got to you've got to embody it, but you embody it as a knowing. Not as
as
a
a knowing.
not as a feeling that's something that you really want to. I mean, feeling is part of it, but the knowing as though you're already experiencing it. And Neil Donald Walsh talked about remembering. So RE dash member. So there's all these
Mm.
little like parts of ourselves, little fractal parts of ourselves that are all scattered through our experience in the matrix, through our experience of the 3D reality. There's broken pieces of us, even though we're not broken, but we believe that we are. And then remembering is kind of like a tether that pulls in those fractal, those little parts of ourselves that feels unworthy or not good enough, or that you can't have what you want, or etc. And then remembering is pulling all of those pieces back into wholeness, into wholeness, like
Yes,
knowing thyself, shifting your perspective. It all comes back to wholeness, remembering all of those parts, bringing them all back into a wholeness, into a oneness, and living
beautiful.
life from that space, seeing yourself from that space.
Yes, yeah,
It's beautiful. It's creation.
yeah, I love it. So, how important is clarity, both in your desires and in your energy, when you're calling something in? You're inviting it in.
Clarity is everything. Like I could have said, well, I just want to go to the Maldives, and I could have been just, Mali is the Maldives as well. It's very busy because we were in Mali overnight, which is the capital of the Maldives. But but I wanted the overwater bungalow. I wanted to have our own private pool. I wanted to overlook the ocean and see the sunset from our own private bungalow. It's the GPS. It's the GPS to creation. So if I
Yes,
wanted to go to Sydney, for example, or any city, I've got to punch in, well, where do I want to go? I can say Sydney, and then the GPS and, the universe will deliver me to Sydney. But where do I want to go in Sydney? What experience do I want to have?
what a
That's,
great analogy. Yeah,
yeah, I always use that as a GPS by
yeah,
honing into what is it exactly that I want? What is it exactly that I want to experience? The knowing, the seeing, the feeling, the following, and then the allowing. So clarity is everything.
yes.
Clarity
To have
gets you
that
what you
clear
want.
vision. Yeah, that
Yeah.
clear knowing,
Yeah, if
you
we're if
know,
we're muffled, if we have like a foggy desire, that's what you'll get in your life.
you'll get a foggy outcome.
Yeah, you'll get a foggy outcome, and then you'll say, "But
Yeah.
that's not what I wanted." But then, what did you want? The universe just aligned with what you were vibrating, what you were projecting.
Beautiful segue into let's talk alignment.
Yes,
How do we know if what we're manifesting is actually in alignment with our soul rather than just our ego or programming or conditioning?
the feeling,
Yeah.
the feeling.
Yeah.
You know when it's true for you, you feel at home. You really feel at home. And then there's no questioning, there's no doubting. It's just you're home. You're home within that within that desire, you're home within that knowing, you're home within that the seeing and the vision of that. It's just it's a beautiful place. The knowing.
Beautiful.
It's
The
the home.
knowing,
The
the
knowing.
home.
Absolute knowing.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you get in your life what you're resonating, you get in your life what you're vibrating, you get in your life what you're calling in. And when you feel at home in that knowing, it's almost like it's automated. It's automated.
It's
And
already set in motion, isn't it?
you just hold on to that. You hold on to that knowing. You hold on to that because there's joy in that. There's joy in the knowing. Because when you're in the knowing, you don't you don't have to struggle for it. You have to take the steps. You have to take the steps, but you take the steps in the knowing and in the peace of mind.
Exactly. So, what daily or weekly practices do you recommend for staying, attuned to the
Mhm.
frequency of creation, to holding the vision, you know, not going unconscious? How do you, what do you actually do, Anna, to
I
stay attuned?
like I said, I think I mentioned that reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. So the 3D reality of which Albert Einstein says, the 3D reality is always present. When you stub your toe, you know you're in 3D. When when you've got a cold or when you're sick or whatever, you know you're in 3D.
Yeah,
But to so we have to have a constant anchor, a constant reminder to keep us in that field of awareness, to keep us in self-awareness, to keep us in the knowing of that I'm creating my reality. And so therefore I always tell my clients this as well, always read something, always listen to something. Like I used to drive to work when I was working far away from home. It was half an hour drive. And I always had something that was inspiring and uplifting. And I would always feel good. I would always feel good when I got to work because I was inspired. I would always feel good when I got home because I was inspired. I'm always having that inspirational content, either the books or the podcasts or the audios, whatever it is. I always use that information every single day to keep me at an elevated emotion, to keep me in an elevated awareness. It's so, so important. And
that beautiful high peak state, yeah, to manifest.
I
Beautiful.
remember when I was working in the corporate world, I think there was 10 people in the office and we had our own little cubicles. And I turned my cubicle into a vision board.
Oh, I love that.
I was the
Yeah.
only one in the office. I was the only, and I had a vision. I had a photo put up there from the Maldives, and I had photos of, I can't remember I don't remember what photos I had, but I was the only one in the office that had turned my cubicle into a vision board. How about that?
Amazing. I love that.
And
Yeah.
and also this is something really interesting that happened the other day. I took my father to an appointment, and the receptionist there, I've got an elderly dad, and the receptionist there had Planet Earth playing behind her, and it was so beautiful, visions of the Earth, scenes of the Earth, etc. And I said to her, "You should really put that TV on the other side so you can see that all that beautiful imagery during the day." She said, "I'd get nothing done," and I sort of chuckled and I said, "Yeah, that makes sense." And then she was saying that she goes, "I used to have the news on. I used to have ABC News, and it was just playing nonstop." And she goes, "Then I realized." I would get home and I would be depressed.
Mm.
She said, I would be depressed. She goes, and then I realized it was because I had that playing nonstop, that negativity. And I said to her, congratulations on that awareness. That's so good.
Yeah, there's the awareness.
And that's
What
subliminal
are you plugging
information.
into? Yeah,
It was subliminal information. And
that's it.
she was then allowing that to drip into her cells.
Yes,
And that's why it's so important for us to, have that surrounding of things that lift us up, things that remind
yes.
us of who we are, things that
Those
lift.
visual reminders, like the inspiration to hold us in that frequency, that,
Yes,
um, to keep us awake and conscious and not slipping into that autopilot, Groundhog Day kind of living where, you're just being dragged along. You're not actually consciously creating your reality. So, yeah, so good, so good. Now, you've studied so many different philosophies and mentors. What's the one universal law or truth that you come back to no matter what?
Well, I've got 2 that are equal, so I'll use both
Yeah,
of
yeah,
those.
two's good.
The
One
first
was a bit unfair. Yeah.
the first one comes from A Course in Miracles, that I am in the world but not of it. And
Wow, yeah.
I use that as an anchor to remind me that I am the creator of my reality, that I am in the world but not of it, which means that what is in the world and what is showing up for me in the world is just the reflection. It's just a reflection of my consciousness. It's a reflection of who I think I am in any given moment. The world is your mirror. That's what they say. The world is your mirror, and it is. Your experience in life is your mirror. So I use that as my anchor. I am in the world, but not of it. And then that helps me lifts me up. It really lifts me up into, it's kind of like it's soothing that I to know that I'm in the world but not of it. And then the second one is a huge reminder that what I think creates. So the second one is from Neville Goddard, that consciousness is the one and only reality. Consciousness is the one and only reality. And that's one of the lessons that I teach my clients is I am. I am. And that's so powerful when you
I
step
am is so powerful. That I am presence, that it really brings you into the sacred now, the present moment. The
Mm,
I am really is genuine embodiment, really, isn't it? It's that I am. Yeah, powerful.
I am awareness.
Yeah.
I am awareness. So if I am in my I am, what am I saying to myself? What am I creating? And so consciousness is the one and only reality. Okay, so who am I conscious of being? What am I conscious of being? And whatever that is for the individual is what is being projected outside on the screen of their life, the screen of space, the screen of the 3D reality.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that
It's
consciousness is
massive.
reality.
Yeah.
And the Hermetic principles as well. The Hermetic principles are ancient philosophies about life. The first one is that all is mind, that the universe is mental. The universe is mental, and all is mind.
Yes.
And I am a fragment or a fractal of that one mind. That
Yes.
one mind, which then goes back to I am in the world but not of it. I'm in the world but not
Exactly.
of it.
Yeah.
And if mind is the only reality, then what I am conscious and who I'm conscious of being in the inner language and the inner dialogue that I'm saying to myself is my creative force.
Oh, totally believe that.
Oh, I love it.
Thoughts, feelings, words, knowings become things without a doubt.
Absolutely. We're
Yeah.
creating it. We're the creators. How,
Yeah.
how beautiful is that?
So beautiful and so empowering and so powerful.
To
Once you
walk.
know you have that kind of ability and power, you know, it does take a lot of personal responsibility.
Yes, absolutely.
But in saying that, like, at least you have, creative control over your own life. Amazing.
To
Yeah.
know that is to then let go. And that's what they say, let go, let God. Well,
Yes.
letting go is letting go of the past. This is another one from the Course in Miracles. The past is gone; it can touch you not.
Yes.
The past is gone; it can touch you not.
And so many people, including
Oh,
myself at times, have
yes,
have lived in the past,
yes,
trying to rewrite the past.
yes.
Um, and there can be anxiety in the past.
Mm,
There can be fear worrying about the future, but often in the present moment,
mhm.
that's where the real magic happens, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The present moment is the consciousness.
exactly.
Present moment is everything. And yes, we live in the 3D world, and that's okay. Because our journey is up and down, is up. We need to experience the rain in order to know the sunshine. We need to experience the pain in order to know the joy. It's
Exactly. The
that,
contrast,
yeah, the duality.
yeah, the duality.
But when you're accepting of that consciousness of that reality, that my consciousness is creating my reality, that I'm in the driver's seat of my life, that my thoughts are the GPS to my future. When we step into that awareness, we can then untangle and unravel. And then I'll use this analogy as well, is that we're all born as beautiful, pure light. There's no baby with attitude. There's no baby that says, you did this to me, etc. There's no baby that knows fear or
Yes.
anger
That
or
pure
resentment.
innocence, that pure curiosity,
Innocence, and
that pure
yes,
light, that
yes.
pure, soul. I know. Amazing.
When we see babies, we remember our light. And so, and then every experience, that baby then is going to grow up in the egoic world. That baby is going to grow up in the matrix. We can't escape it, and that's okay. It's part of our experience that we've chosen to come into this reality and experience, and that's okay. But then, that each experience throws a bit of that paper mache. I always say that, it throws paper
The
mache
layering. Yeah.
light. And then eventually some of us are so obscured, our light is so obscured, we can't even see it anymore. Whereas we're just so entangled in the matrix, in the 3D reality, in our own pain and trapped. I used to be that way. I used to be that way. I was really unhappy and I felt really unworthy. And then, but learning this information, like that first bit, listening to the guests that were on Oprah, that started to peel off a little bit of that paper mache. All of a sudden, a little bit of that flicker of light
Yes.
would start to expand. And I always say that we go through light, or we go through life as though we're living in a dark room, and whatever our torch holds is all we can see. So wherever our focus goes is all we can see. But when you understand this, when you know that you are in the world but not of it, when you know that consciousness is the one and only reality, it's as though someone has turned a switch on and you go, I've got goosebumps.
Yes.
All of a sudden you see everything. You have this new awareness, you have this new perspective of who you truly are and how amazing and how magnificent you are. And
Thank you, my love. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
there's this one I'll quickly say this
Yeah.
from the Course in Miracles.
Yes.
I don't know it word for word, but it's something along the lines: if you knew who walked beside you at every step on this path that you have chosen, you could never fear.
Yes. Wow.
I love
So
that.
may it be. That's beautiful.
You are in the world, but not of it. Therefore, you are creating everything. Your life is your creation. And you have that empowerment. You have the ability. You have everything within you to create magic in your world through.
Magnificent. You are amazing. Thank you so much, Anna, for
You're very
coming on today.
Thank
That
you for
is
having me.
so empowering, enlightening, inspiring, practical, wonderful. I loved it so much. Thank you, my dear.
Thank you so
Thank
much. It was a
you.
pleasure. I love this conversation.
Yeah. So thank you so much for journeying with us today. If something landed, stirred, or uplifted you, give it space, let it ripple. And if you feel called, I'd love for you to share this episode or pass it on to someone ready to receive. You can follow the links in the show notes to stay connected with me and also with Anna. Anna's beautiful links will be in the show notes. This conversation doesn't need to end here. Remember, your desires are divine, your soul is wise, and everything you need is already within you. Until next time, be kind to yourself, tune into the whispers, and keep showing up as the oracle you truly are. Thank you.
Thank you.